I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak in this debate because 4,000 of my constituents work in retail. There are now more shop workers in the Bishop Auckland constituency than there were miners 50 years ago. Although I do have some questions about the quality of some of the jobs, the short hours, the low pay, the constantly changing shifts that are forced on people. And I found it very ugly to hear that people were given short shifts in order to, as the managers said, keep them hungry for extra hours. Well, the problem is that in my constituency, people are going to food banks. They are literally being kept hungry. I also think we need to look at the regime for bank holidays. One of the things I think would be really good would be if we could have Boxing Day as a bank holiday alongside Christmas Day, because Christmas Day is often ruined for many, many shop workers because they have to get up so early on Boxing Day to rush into the shops to reorder the stores in order to sell in the sales. In my constituency, it isn't a statutory bank holiday for people who work in shops, the Honourable Gentleman said. One of the things that's very important is what the High Street is like. This has a very significant impact on people's well-being. In my constituency, a large number of people are working in a new out-of-town development in Tyndale Crescent. But the truth is that Shildon, Bishop Auckland itself and Spennymoor are all seeing a fading away of the town centre. There are good butchers, there are good grocers, there are good bakers, but the overall picture is one of decline. There were a lot of shop closures after the post-crash recession, and we thought that things would come back. They have not come back. They continue to decline. And if I might say so, I think the Secretary of State's opening speech was verging on the complacent. So the question is, why are these shops closing and what is to be done about it? Well, the first, obviously, is the shift to online sales. And I really think the government has failed completely to set a level playing field as far as tax is concerned. John Lewis raised this problem 3 years ago at least, and Amazon and Google and these other big online retailers should have a turnover tax. And we should, I agree with the Honourable Member for St Ives, we should move to this urgently. The second problem has been the very significant fall in wages across the British economy between 2007 and 2015, a 7% drop in real terms. We're not going to get back to the pre-crash levels till 2024. Earnings are down £1,400 per person. This is bound to have an effect on what people can spend. And in my constituency, in County Durham, cuts to child benefit, to tax credit, to employment support allowance, to job seekers allowance and disabilities are all having a very serious impact on my constituents' income. So obviously they have less money in their pocket to spend. Moreover, the government keeps telling us unemployment is rising. In my constituency, the increase in unemployment in the past 12 months has been 29%. So we're not being compensated with extra jobs for all these wage cuts. A further issue which is affecting the High Street, the modern High Street, was raised by the Honourable Member for the SNP. It is the unequal rollout of broadband and the lack of access to Wi-Fi. This is a problem for the shops themselves, and it also particularly makes town centres unattractive to young people who like to be able to communicate using social media when they go around. So the ineptitude of the government in rolling out broadband equally across the country without not spots is a real problem in Shildon and Spennymoor and Bishop. The fourth problem is cuts to public services. My constituency has seen the loss of a driving test centre, a magistrates court, a tax office, all from Bishop Auckland town centre. The next thing that's going to go is the registrar where you can get married. The swimming pool has gone in Shildon. A sixth form is going in Spennymoor, which means that young people after school will spend their time and money in Durham City, not in Spennymoor. Now we need a strategy for these towns. We need a conscious strategy, and when public services are always centralised in cities, that denudes small towns of the life which is brought into those towns and which then has a positive second round effect on the shops and the retail, because when the footfall drops to these other public services, of course fewer people are there to go shopping, and the private sector is no better. Many honourable members have complained about the bank closures. We had another depressing meeting yesterday with RBS. Barclays are closing a branch in Spennymoor. HSBC closed the last branch in Shildon, and this is bad for shops and it's bad for small businesses. I would like to see ministers look at changing the competition rules so that the banks could share branches in small towns. This is at the moment, the banks want to be able to run on their current branding. Ministers rely on competition. There is a market failure here, and we need to put the public interest first, and I'd like to see a change in the competition rules. Many honourable members have spoken about the problem of business rates, and Beals in my constituency closed for precisely this reason. Honourable members have spoken about the importance of compulsory purchase, and I agree completely with that. We could have had a much speedier redevelopment in Spennymoor had the council been able to compulsory purchase the private festival walk in Spennymoor town centre. I don't want to leave honourable members with the idea that there aren't good things going on in the towns in my constituency. Auckland Castle in Bishop is going to be a fantastic tourist opportunity for people. The 1825 celebrations in Shildon of the Stockton to Darlington line are going to enable us to make the most of the Heritage Action Zone. So there are pluses as well as minuses.